Well, thanks for visiting us this morning at ktalnews.com as well as your Weather Authority app. I'm meteorologist Josh Marces with your Monday morning forecast update. We do have a very complicated setup as far as severe weather today, but we are still under the threat of severe storms. In fact, an enhanced risk of severe weather, which does mean widespread severe weather is likely for us today. The main threat is going to be for damaging wind gusts. We can't rule out a few tornadoes as well, and also some large hail. And if that's not enough, we also have a flood watch that's in effect through tonight, as we could see some heavy rain as well, lead to some roadway flooding, especially late this evening into the overnight hours. So the complication today is that this may come through in two different waves, and depending on what the first wave does, we may not see that second wave develop until much later tonight. So I think the best advice today, everybody needs to be on high alert from about noon until the overnight hours tonight. And if you do hear thunder today, just kind of take it to mean that there is a strong storm near you. So if you hear thunder, as the saying goes, as thunder roars, go indoors. And that's pretty good advice today, as these storms will be popping up likely for several hours here. So look at satellite and radar. We've got a lot of clouds in place this morning, so it will be a cloudy first half of the day here. And there's actually a cold front and a dry line back here in Texas that will kind of combine to trigger the storms that we're expecting later today. Now, we could see some storms develop as soon as maybe the noon hour today, and that's where the uncertainty lies here. But we do know a lot of warm air available for the storms. We're actually upper 60s, low 70s to start out, and your highs today likely winding up in the mid to upper 70s in quite a few locations. And it wouldn't surprise me, maybe even a few locations touched 80 degrees, but fairly breezy day out ahead of those storms, and may see some light rain this morning. And what I'm going to do here, I'm going to show you two different forecast models just to kind of show you the uncertainty we're working with today. Look at things once we get to noon. This is the HRRR model. This is run by the folks over at the Weather Service. It updates every hour, so on severe weather days we really turn to this as far as kind of highlighting how this all may play out. Now, it does show these storms popping up early this afternoon. Initially, these would pose quite a bit of a hail threat if these even get going, but that's the uncertainty today. It's possible this first round won't even be here, but if these storms do get going, they will be not impeded by many storms around them. So these are the ones that typically can potentially bring the very large hail, talking golf ball size or larger, and could see a few tornadoes with this initial round of storms, which if we do see that early round of storms, probably from about noon until 4 p.m. today, may see a little bit of a break for a few hours, but then you'll notice the actual cold front moving in later. So we have a pretty good line of storms that does develop after sunset tonight. Now, this is where I'll have to bring in our other model. This is our in-house model, which is also a high resolution model that runs every few hours. So it too usually has a pretty good handle on how things are playing out here. And you'll notice it does pop up some of those storms around noon today. Doesn't really bring much strength with them. So if you look into this model, it's saying, yeah, some storms will be there early this afternoon, but maybe not severe. And then it is showing that second line of storms developing late tonight. So about 9 or 10 p.m., you can see the storms here. Those too would be capable of severe weather hazards. In fact, we think the stronger line today, if we do see these two rounds of storms, the stronger one may actually be the one late tonight, early tomorrow morning. So this will also be a overnight severe weather threat for many of us. And the storms late tonight, mainly a wind threat, but we could see a few tornadoes embedded within the line. So again, two different rounds today, one in the early afternoon and one tonight, that will be capable of all those severe weather hazards. And we'll see things begin to wind down once we get closer to sunrise tomorrow morning, but you can see a few storms popping up just east of us on Tuesday as well. So look at the flood watch. We do have a flood watch in effect for most of the Arklatex here, as we expect another 1 to 3 inches of rain. Normally 1 to 3 inches of rain doesn't cause us problems here, but we did have about 2 to 5 inches of rain with the storms we saw late last week. So the ground's pretty well saturated here, which means a lot of this will run off fairly quickly. And we're kind of highlighting a lot of areas here that could see about an inch or two of rain, and isolated amounts again up to about 3 inches or so. And Futurecast definitely buys into the heaviest rain being across maybe Arkansas as well as Louisiana this afternoon. And there's a look at your 7-day. We get through today and things will really quiet and cool down for us. Actually pretty pleasant weather through the middle of the week, but chill in the air as we head into the weekend. Highs will be in the 60s, and it looks like a little more rain possibly late in the weekend and early next week.